How's it going, guys? This is Holly with Grindworx, and today we are looking at some awesome new EDC knives from CRKT. Now, these knives are not new to the world, but they are new to Grindworx, and I have not shown them to you guys yet, but I'm super excited about them, so I wanted to film a little video to show them to you guys. First off, you may recognize this design. This is the Pilar Large, so just a bigger version of the Pilar knife that you may or may not be familiar with. This one runs right around $50 on the site currently. It is 6.625 inches long with a 2.625 inch blade. This is D2 steel. The original Pilar, I don't remember what steel it was, but it was not D2, and given that it's CRKT, you could probably assume that it would be 8CR13. That's what most of these other knives on the table are. That's kind of CRKT's signature because they are awesome at cranking out quality but budget-friendly knives. So we got D2 steel on this one, which is nice. We've got a sheep's foot blade with a flat grind and a black finish. As you saw, it has a flipper opener. We've got nice grippy G10 handle scale here over a frame lock. Nice sturdy frame lock. It's 3.52 ounces, so right at that sweet spot for me, right in between 3 and 4 ounces. We have a tip down or tip up pocket clip here with a lanyard hole in the pommel. Now, I am already a fan of the Pilar. One of the first knives that I handled right at sort of my introduction to knives a few years ago, and I love it. I love the design. I love the sort of S-curve that this upward sweeping blade and downward curving handle create. I love the choils. It fits very nicely in the hand. It's very comfortable. And I do think it's great that CRKT made a larger option. This one is actually great for my hand, even though my hands are small. So I imagine for those of you with larger hands, this is awesome because the regular Pilar would probably be too small for you. But it's also not too large. The blade is still under 3 inches, so it doesn't feel too big to me. I love the blacked out look. I think it makes it look pretty sleek and dignified. This really, for me, is an EDC that wants to be more than an EDC. I mean, it's got a better steel. It feels beefier than it looks. It's got great ergonomics, and it has a nice sort of chonky blade. So great for everyday carry, but I feel like you could do more with it if you wanted to. I would be comfortable taking it on, say, a camping trip. You know, I need a smaller knife to do, I don't know, some whittling, just some small chores at base camp. I would totally take this with me because I think it could stand up to some heavier use. So great one. Love this one. Frame lock isn't too hard for me to disengage. Great knife. Okay, next up, this is a really interesting one. This is the 5220 BT Fighter plunge lock knife. Right around $40 currently. It is 7 inches overall with a 2.875 inch blade. This is 8CR13 MOV steel. This is a drop point style. It's got a flat grind and that stone wash finish that I love so much. We have a flipper as well as a thumb stud opener, and the action with both of those is really smooth. Lockup is pretty good. There's just the tiniest bit of blade play that I actually can't always feel, but I think it is there. Nice lightweight but tough, grippy GFN handle. And this plunge lock, you may have noticed, makes it super easy to open and close. Makes it very fidgety as well. This thing comes in right around 3.4 ounces. And then we have a very unique one-way tip-up deep carry pocket clip. I like how that design kind of straddles this triangular lanyard hole. And if you look there, this ball does not roll that I can feel, but just an interesting alternate way to terminate the pocket clip there. And it makes it hug your pocket pretty snug, but it comes in and out fairly easily as well. This one is trying to have good ergonomics, but for me personally, it ends up being just slightly awkward. I feel like your fingers either got to be super skinny or super the other direction, because It kind of forces my fingers into a configuration that I'm not entirely sure I like. It's still decently comfortable. They put jimping in that spot that is just right. So perhaps that's a minor complaint. I'd have to use it more to really see. Overall, I really love the unique look of this. I love that they've kind of designed this almost carbon fiber looking pattern into the GFN. I like this custom pivot. This whole end, I love everything that's going on here. It's definitely a fun one to look at. And the action is pretty dang speedy and smooth. So definitely one that you're going to want to fidget with all day long. Action is great. And that plunge lock, I love that. It makes me wonder why more manual knives don't have plunge locks, because this may be the first one that I've actually picked up that has that combination. Perhaps it's that slight blade play that I was feeling. Oh, see, now I can't find it. I don't know. Maybe it's my imagination. But I certainly wouldn't complain if I saw more manual knives with that plunge lock. I think that's great. Perhaps it's sturdiness. So those of you who know more now about knives than I do, I'd love to hear you in the comments why that isn't a more common feature, because I think it's awesome. All right, so there is the fighter. Next up, we have a design from Lucas Burnley. This is the Burnley Tuna frame lock knife. Also right around $45 currently. We've got 7.625 inches total with a 3¼ inch blade. Again, 8CR13 MOV. We've got a spear point style blade with a flat grind and nice black stonewash finish. As you saw, it's got a thumb stud opener. We have this nice G10 handle scale over a stainless steel frame lock. 3.7 ounces, so bigger but not adding a lot of weight with that size. I think that's great. And it also has a one-way tip-up deep carry pocket clip with a lanyard hole built into this back spacer here. I really, really want to love this knife. And I do love the look, the design. It kind of looks like a tuna. I can see why you'd call it that, because it's kind of blade heavy and then tapers down, very much the look of the body of a tuna fish. Very sleek, very nice. And love these bronze details, that collar around the pivot and the back spacer there. It's a beautiful knife. But I just can't love it because it's a little on the big side and the frame lock is kind of awkward for me. You may have noticed in a previous video I said that more and more I am leaning towards a liner lock rather than a frame lock. Maybe it's the combination of the size with the frame lock, but I find that I struggle. I tend to bring my fingers up too high and kind of pinch it as I'm trying to release it. So for me, that kind of takes it out of the running. I think those things would get on my nerves a little too much, but I sure think it's pretty. And for a bigger hand, I bet you it's probably absolutely perfect. And it is a knife that I've heard about. I think it's fairly popular, so glad to have it on Grindworx now. Next up, we've got another Burnley design. This is the Burnley Prequel. It's a field strip knife. Field strip is a whole line of knives that CRKT has, with this unique feature here that I'll show you in just a minute. This one runs right around $50. It's 6.5 inches total with a 2.72 inch blade, so perfect size range for me. Again, 8CR13 steel. This is a sort of modified Tonto blade with a flat grind and a satin finish. Love that high grind, by the way. That's one of my favorite things to see on a knife. Makes it nice and slicey, and I just think it looks cool. It has both a thumb stud and a flipper opener. More and more, I really like opening my knife with the thumb stud, but it does have that flipper option as well. Always nice to have options, right? We've got a GRN handle with this almost kind of floral or leafy pattern in it, which is really interesting. Stainless liners, of course. It's 3.86 ounces. Feels like the perfect weight to me. Hefty enough to feel substantial, but not so heavy that it's going to be super obvious in your pocket. Again, a one-way tip-up deep carry pocket clip. And we do have a lanyard. No lanyard hole. I lied. There is no lanyard hole there. Really interesting blade shape. I think that'd be pretty versatile. Great for slicing, but you've also got a nice tip for any fine detail work you need to do. The handle is grippy. The ergonomics feel nice. They're subtle, but enough to lock your grip in. But the really interesting thing about this knife is the field strip design. It's ingenious. It essentially allows you to disassemble your knife without any tools, but it reassembles perfectly. Let me show you how that works. So this part here, it looks like it's just part of the backspacer, but it's actually a sort of gear wheel thing. It unscrews the back end of the handle here, and then you just flip that little lever there, and the whole thing, let me undo that a little more. Not quite. And the whole thing just comes open like that. Easy peasy. I've never seen anything like this before. So if you're using this in an environment where it's going to get dirty, or you generally just want an easier way to maintain your knife, it's fantastic. You just put it back together, spin that wheel the other way, kind of pinch your pivot there so that you can get this lever back where it was, and done. All back together and no blade play, no wiggling around. It's locked right back up. I think it's fantastic. So super nifty design there. Okay, lastly we have the Inara. This is another G10 frame lock knife. This one's right around $40 currently. It is 6.625 inches long with a 2 3/4 inch blade. 8CR 14 MOV steel this time with a Warncliffe style blade, a hollow grind, and another black stonewash finish. It has a single reversible thumb stud. We've got a G10 handle scale over a frame lock. It's 1.8 ounces, so super lightweight. We have a one-way tip-up clip, not deep carry this time, and no lanyard hole. I think this would make a great office knife. I mean, it's super slim, super lightweight, and it's got very smooth action. And perhaps because of the size, this frame lock isn't difficult for me to use at all, although it wants to close on your fingers. So be careful with this one. That action is very smooth and it just wants to fall closed. So very satisfying open and close there. And yeah, I just think the size of it, how super slender that is, it's just going to disappear in your pocket, and very non-threatening, but it's kind of got a cool look to it too. So perfect knife for the office, or just if you want something that's very lightweight for very basic tasks. I definitely think this is the one for you. So there you have it. There's 5 new, really interesting EDC knives, all in the $40 to $50 range. So great quality, but also a decent price. If I had to choose a favorite, you know that I already like the Pilar, so I'm not going to go with that. I'd have to say I want this one to be my favorite just because I love that plunge lock so much, but the ergos of it just don't quite work for me. So I think I'd have to say the Prequel. I love the field strip feature. It's the perfect size and weight for me. The design is still really interesting. I can't find anything wrong with it. I think it's a great knife. So that one would be my favorite, but I would love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts on CRKT, which CRKT design is your favorite, and which of these do you think you'll be adding to your collection next? So drop me a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss a new one. We've got some super fun, interesting videos here for you guys to check out, and as always, I'd invite you to jump on grindworx.com and check out all the awesome CRKT knives we have there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you next time.